So this executive order just came out on AI,
Yep.
and I'm thinking about I want to relate this to this kind of you standing out amongst these other titans, if you will, in the industry.
Yeah.
And I know that one of the there's several different areas of this executive order.
Yep.
You know, make more tools, have us be more put more time and energy into AI.
Yep.
Have people who create them, they have to have someone kind of check their code, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
But then there's also, they've created AI.gov, and they want to hire AI professionals, right?
Yep.
And I saw this the same thing in the time I spent in the Intel community, where sometimes it's hard how do you recruit those best of the best and to come into public service?
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you saw it at Afrotech,
Yep.
and maybe it just comes down to whether that's compensation or I want to work remote. I don't want to come into the office.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that your challenge is the same as the AI world is going to have this AI.gov. I mean, it's AI. You're thinking Silicon Valley. Why wouldn't you just work it out in Silicon Valley?
Sure.
Can you talk about that a little bit more too, of the stuff that you heard from people, and maybe a little bit more about just these kind of getting over that hurdle of maybe I could work in the public sector?
Yeah, 100%. So one of the positions I had prior to my current role, and so my current role, I am an assistant section chief in the FBI's Counterterrorism division.
Right.
And so the section that I oversee is called the Technology and Data Innovation section. And so our section is really responsible for interfacing with our special agents and our intelligence analysts that are doing counterterrorism investigations around the world. And our goal is to understand, what are the challenges that they're experiencing when it comes to receiving data, receiving information, and you being able to use that information to support moving their investigative efforts forward. And so my team will sit down with them. We'll try to understand, okay, what are those challenges? What are the requirements that we can mine from that information? And what are the then applications or tools or services that we can develop to help address some of those pain points? So artificial intelligence has long been one of these areas that we have been very interested in because of all of the, opportunities for efficiencies and, helping streamline a lot of the very manual efforts that go on when it comes to intelligence and analytics, and something as simple as just taking data and then reformatting it into something that you could use to search through your systems can be very, very manually intensive. And so these emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning, they can really bridge a critical gap and make our investigations move much faster.
Yeah.
Now, the challenge, of course, is everything that the FBI does has to pass the sniff test when it comes to the legal system. And so we're always looking at making sure that however we get the information that we get, or however we do our analysis of that information, we have to be able to explain that in a court of law.
Yeah.
And so especially when you're talking about artificial intelligence, the concern there is, well, if you're just putting an input into this black box and then you're getting an output out, how do you explain what happened? So that transparency, and I think that's part of the Biden administration's thing is, we have to be very logical, very intentional about the way we're designing these tools so that we can have that explainability, so that when we sit down in front of a jury, we can explain exactly how that artificial intelligence tool connected all of these dots to get the output that it did.
Is that chain of custody in another way of describing that, in a way, or just the...
I think it's an element of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so chain of custody is obviously super important for our investigative efforts and making sure that we can account for any type of investigative material that we've got from the point we get it all the way through to processing. But yeah, and so when you talk about, especially the recruiting angle for artificial intelligence and machine learning and these other emerging technology skills, these are highly coveted skills in the private sector, which generally means they're going to drive the salaries and the benefits that are being offered to these individuals. So from a government perspective, right now we are generally limited to the GS pay scale that OPM puts out. And so that comes with very structured, standardized pay plans. Now, on the benefits side, the FBI has absolutely been working hard to make sure that we're offering a very well-rounded benefits package to all of our employees. Just this past June, we just added a new benefit that all of our employees get 3 hours of paid time every week to devote towards a wellness activity. It could be working out at the gym, could be doing meditation, anything along those lines. And so that's something that even in the private sector is rare to see. And so that's kind of an exciting benefit that we have to offer. And we've got a whole slew of other benefits that we offer, and we try to spend time, especially at conferences like Afrotech, to really help people understand, like, while your pay may not be directly comparable to what the private sector offers, there's all these other benefits that you get, including things like a pension, that the private sector doesn't offer anymore. And so when you look at it in totality, we're actually much more competitive than I think most people think we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we're looking for these individuals, and the thing that you have to make sure to kind of explain to these folks is, like, hey, you're coming into a government organization, and there is going to be a little bit of that bureaucracy that you've got to learn to deal with.
Yeah.
So in the private sector, it's like fail fast, and break things and learn and grow. Where on our side, we absolutely want to evolve, and we want to apply many of those principles of agile development, but we've got to be able to do it in a way that doesn't put at risk our investigative efforts, and it doesn't put at risk, the American people's safety. So